Hi, everybody. Mitch Tannenbaum here. Thanks for joining me today. Today, I'm going to answer a question that I got asked the other day, which I think is an important question, which is, what's the impact of cybersecurity on business valuation? The challenge is, of course, that for small companies, we don't know because it kind of, doesn't make the news. But we have many examples of large companies where it does make the news, and you can extrapolate that if the large companies have these problems, then the small companies do as well. So I'm going to do two examples here. The first one is the Yahoo sale to Verizon a couple of years ago. And what happened there was a few days or maybe a week before the deal was supposed to close, and it was a small number of billions of dollars, like $2 or $3 billion. It was revealed that Yahoo had had a breach where their users' information had been compromised, and they hadn't disclosed it. Now, that's a situation where the disclosure happened before the sale closed, which from the buyer's perspective is a great deal. From the seller's perspective, it really is a horrible deal. So in that case, what happened was that Yahoo agreed to take a $500 million haircut, a reduction in price, which represents about 15 to 20% of the sale price. And in addition to that, they agreed to retain liabilities that they had as a result of the breach. So from Yahoo's standpoint, that deal was really, really bad. That did not turn out the way they wanted. Not only did they lose a lot of money, but they also kept the liability on top of it. And in that particular case, the former CEO of Yahoo, Marissa Mayer, had publicly on many occasions had said, security, it's a pain in the ass. I don't like it. I'm not going to do it. It's inconvenient. And the result of that was they wound up taking pretty decent sized haircut as far as I'm concerned. On the other side, a deal that didn't get discovered, the Starwood hotel chain was bought by the Marriott hotel chain a few years ago. And unbeknownst to Marriott, the Starwood folks, had been breached about 2 years prior to Marriott acquiring them. They did not discover, that they being Marriott, that they had been breached until about 4 years afterwards, when they were doing some kind of system upgrade, and they were looking at a database, and they discovered some stuff in there that made them question what was going on. They started doing digging, and they discovered that the hackers had basically been in there for 6 years. Now, in that particular case, Marriott owned 100% of the liability. Starwood made out like a bandit. And in fairness, I don't think Starwood knew that hackers were in there. I think that was an example of, I think it's pretty clear. Certainly there are examples where the seller knows there's something wrong and they don't disclose it, which of course is illegal, but it happens anyway. But in this case, I don't think Starwood did that. I think they just didn't know. So, from that perspective, Marriott, cost them tens of millions of dollars and a lot of reputational damage, which they had to then go repair, and lawsuits, and 5 years after the breach, they're still fighting the lawsuits, and on and on and on. So in that particular case, what happened was that Marriott didn't do a very good job of due diligence prior to the sale, and they owned all the liabilities. So two pretty public examples of mergers and acquisitions that kind of went sideways, either for the buyer or for the seller, one of each case. And it shows why managing cybersecurity is really important. Obviously, if you're the buyer, you don't want to be in that Marriott Starwood deal. And if you're the seller, you don't want to be in the Yahoo Verizon deal. So, both folks should do their due diligence. If you're a seller, you want to do your due diligence before you put the asset on the market. If you're the buyer, you want to do your due diligence before you close the deal. And, what we see, of course, is that there's a lot of due diligence on the financial side, on the people side, on the marketing side, sometimes on the product side, but not very much due diligence when it comes to cybersecurity. And here's two examples where that didn't go as expected. If we can help you in this, which we can, please reach out to us. But otherwise, until next time, stay safe.